On a quiet night, Prometheus and the fire between dream and myth, an ancient tale story in 5 chapters. Have you ever heard of the hero, the gift of fire, who faced a monster? You find with yourself nothing drifting, but courage, drifting and through time itself. Join us on a calm journey the world was younger, as Perseus steps into the shadows and mortals, where the gaze of Medusa below turns even the bravest hearts to stone. The air around you feels thick with ancient mystery, and you sense the presence of something divine stirring in the heavens above. Close your eyes and let yourself be carried to a time before memory, before written words, to the very dawn of human understanding. You are floating now, weightless as a whisper, watching from a place beyond mortal sight, witnessing a moment that would change the world forever. There, in the misty realm between earth and sky, you see him, Prometheus, the wise Titan whose name means forethought. His form is magnificent yet gentle, tall as a mountain, yet moved by the deepest compassion. His eyes hold the wisdom of countless ages, the patience of stone, the kindness of falling rain. You watch as Prometheus gazes down upon the earth below, where small clusters of humans struggle in their primitive settlements. Their fires have gone out in the night, and they huddle together for warmth, shivering against the cold darkness that surrounds them. Their faces are drawn with hunger, with fear. Sun, with the endless uncertainty of creatures who live at the mercy of forces they cannot understand. The Titan's heart swells with profound sadness and with love for these fragile beings who remind him so much of himself in their capacity for thought, for dreams, for the gentle spark of consciousness that sets them apart from all other creatures. He sees in them a potential that even the gods have failed to recognize, a potential for greatness, for wisdom, for the kind of beauty that comes only from struggle and growth. You feel yourself drawn closer, closer to this moment of decision as Prometheus makes a choice that will echo through all eternity. His massive hands that have shaped mountains and guided stars, reach slowly toward the sacred fire that burns eternally in the realm of the gods. The flames dance before him, pure and white and warm, holding within them the power of creation itself. The fire whispers to him, speaking in a language older than words, telling him of the responsibility he is about to take upon himself, of the price that will surely come. But Prometheus does not hesitate. His love for humanity burns brighter than any flame, and he knows, with the certainty that comes only from perfect wisdom, that this is what must be done. Gently, oh, so gently, he cups a portion of the divine flame in his hands. The fire does not burn him, for he is divine himself. Instead, it recognizes his pure intention, his selfless love, and it allows itself to be carried, to be shared, to be given as the greatest gift ever bestowed upon mortal beings. You follow Prometheus as he descends, moving like a dream through layers of cloud, and starlight, down, down toward the sleeping earth. The wind carries you both, soft and warm, filled with the promise of change, of hope, of a future bright with possibility. Below, the human settlements lie quiet in the pre-dawn darkness. Cooking fires have burned down to cold ash. Families sleep pressed close together for warmth. Children dream fitful dreams, unaware that their world is about to be transformed forever. The night air is crisp and still, holding its breath, waiting for the miracle that is about to unfold. Prometheus moves among them like a guardian spirit, invisible to their sleeping eyes, but felt in their hearts as a presence of infinite kindness. He visits each dwelling, each cave, each simple shelter, and there, with the tenderness of a parent tucking in a beloved child, he leaves small portions of the divine fire. You watch, mesmerized, as the flames take hold, growing from tiny sparks to steady, warming blazes. The darkness retreats, step by step, shadow by shadow, as light returns to the human world. But this is not merely the light of burning wood. This is the light of knowledge itself, the illumination of the mind, the spark that will kindle all future learning and wisdom. The first human to wake, a young woman gathering her sleeping child closer, opens her eyes to see something impossible. Fire, burning where no fire should be, dancing merrily in the cold hearth, as if it had always been there. She sits up slowly, carefully, afraid to move too quickly lest this vision disappear like so many dreams before it. But the fire remains, warm and real and beautiful, casting dancing shadows on the walls of her simple home, filling the air with blessed warmth, chasing away the chill that has been her constant companion through all the long, cold nights of her life. She reaches out, attentively, and feels the heat kiss her fingertips like a gentle blessing. Others begin to wake, drawn by an instinct they cannot name, emerging from their dwellings to witness the miracle that has visited them in the night. Fire, everywhere fire, burning bright and steady in every hearth, in every gathering place, transforming their world from a realm of shadow into a landscape of golden light. You see the wonder in their faces, the awe that fills their hearts as they encounter this gift beyond all imagination. Children venture close to the flames, their eyes wide with curiosity rather than fear, drawn by some ancient recognition, some memory of warmth and safety that speaks to the deepest parts of their souls. An old man, the eldest of his tribe, approaches one of the fires with trembling hands. He has lived longer than most, has seen many seasons come and go, has endured more cold nights than he can count. And now, in his twilight years, he is witnessing something that transforms everything he thought he knew about the world. He kneels before the flame, and you can see tears streaming down his weathered cheeks, tears of gratitude, of recognition, of profound joy. His voice, cracked with age and emotion, whispers words of thanks to whatever benevolent spirit has blessed them with this impossible gift, though he cannot see Prometheus. His heart knows that some great power has taken pity on their suffering. The fire spreads from dwelling to dwelling, not through careless burning, but through careful sharing. One person carries a burning branch to their neighbor, who lights their own fire and passes the gift along. The flames multiply, but never diminish, as if each new fire only makes the original burn brighter, stronger, more beautiful than before. You float higher, taking in the full scope of the transformation. From your aerial vantage point, you can see the scattered settlements beginning to glow like fallen stars, each one a point of light in the vast darkness of the wilderness. The effect is breathtaking, as if someone has carefully placed jewels across the face of the sleeping earth. But Prometheus sees even more. His divine sight penetrates beyond the immediate moment, beyond the simple warmth and light, to the countless possibilities that this gift will unlock. He sees humans cooking food, making it safer and more nourishing. He sees them working metal, creating tools that will help them build better lives. He sees them gathering around fires to share stories, to teach their children, to create the bonds of culture and wisdom that will endure for all time. Most importantly, he sees them learning the fire is not just a source of warmth and light. It is a teacher. Through its careful tending, humans will learn patience, responsibility, the delicate balance between nurture and restraint. They will discover chemistry in its burning, physics in its heat, mathematics in its fuel consumption, philosophy in their contemplation of its endless dance. You feel yourself settling deeper into this dreamlike state, watching as the first day of the fire blessed world unfolds. The sun rises, but for the first time in human memory, its light does not mark the end of warmth and safety. Instead, it joins with the firelight to create a world twice blessed, doubly bright, infinitely more hopeful than the one that existed just hours before. Children play closer to the flames, their laughter ringing through the morning air like music. Their games take on new dimensions, casting shadow pictures on walls, creating elaborate ceremonies around the tending of the fire, developing the first rituals that will eventually grow into art, into theater, into all the magnificent expressions of human creativity. Adults work with new efficiency, new joy. The warmth allows them to move more freely, to think more clearly, to plan beyond the simple survival that has consumed all their energy for so long. They begin to make things, beautiful things, not just functional tools, but objects that please the eye, that express something deeper than mere utility. you witness the birth of human civilization itself, unfolding like a flower in the warmth of Prometheus's gift. Languages grow richer as people gather around fires to share their thoughts, their observations, their dreams. Art emerges as they use charcoal and ash to mark the walls of their dwellings, creating the first images, the first records, the first attempts to capture and share their experience of wonder. The day grows longer, or perhaps time itself has slowed, allowing you to savor every moment of this transformation. You see families sitting together in comfortable circles around their fires, sharing food that tastes better when cooked, sharing stories that seem more magical in the dancing light, sharing silence that feels deeper and more peaceful when warmed by the gentle heat. And young mother holds her infant close to the fire, not dangerously close, but near enough that the child can feel the warmth on its tiny face. The baby's eyes, wide and dark, and filled with innocent wonder, track the movement of the flames, and you realize you are witnessing something profound. This child, born into a world with fire, will grow up different from all who came before, will take this gift for granted, will build upon it in ways that even Prometheus cannot fully foresee. The Titan himself remains nearby, invisible to mortal eyes, but watching, always watching, with the patient attention of a gardener tending precious seedlings. He sees each small discovery, each moment of joy, each instant of recognition, as humans begin to understand the true scope of what they have been given. His heart fills with quiet satisfaction, with the deep contentment that comes from love freely given, freely received. As evening approaches, you notice that the humans do not show their usual anxiety about the coming darkness. For the first time in their existence, night holds no terror. The fires burn steadily, pushing back the shadows, creating pools of safety and warmth that make the darkness feel less like an enemy and more like a peaceful friend. They can rest now, truly rest, knowing that the light will remain, that the warmth will endure, that tomorrow will bring new opportunities rather than merely new struggles for survival. You see them beginning to experiment, carefully, respectfully, with their new gift, and clever young man discovers that certain woods burn longer than others. A thoughtful woman notices that the flames can be used to harden clay, making stronger pots, better tools. And curious child observes that the fire creates different colors when fed different materials, laying the groundwork for discoveries that will not bloom for generations to come. But perhaps most beautiful of all, you witness the birth of gratitude, of reverence, of the understanding that they have been blessed by something greater than themselves. They do not know Prometheus's name, cannot see his form, but they sense his presence in every dancing flame. They create small ceremonies, simple offerings, the first tentative prayers to whoever it was that remembered them in their darkness and chose to share such bounty. The night deepens with, but the world no longer feels dangerous. Instead, it feels full of possibility, full of warmth, full of light that will never truly fade. You float among the settled communities, watching families sleep peacefully around their glowing hearths, children dreaming dreams that are no longer haunted by cold and fear, adults resting with faces relaxed and hopeful, and there, still watching over them all, stands Prometheus, his task complete for now, but his vigil continuing. He knows that greater challenges lie ahead, that his gift will bring not only blessing, but also responsibility. That Zeus will not look kindly upon this sharing of divine power. But in this moment, in this perfect crystalline moment of pure fulfillment, he is content. You feel yourself beginning to drift, settling deeper into peaceful slumber, cradled by the warmth of countless fires, soothed by the quiet breathing of sleeping families, held safe by the presence of a love so pure and selfless that it transformed the world itself. The flames dance on, will always dance on, in the darkness behind your closing eyes, carrying you gently, gently into dreams as warm and bright as the fire itself. Chapter 2. The Wrath of Zeus. You drift deeper now, deeper into the ancient dream, where time moves like honey, thick and golden and sweet. The warmth of 1,000 human fires still glows around you. But now, from the highest peaks of Olympus, you sense something stirring, something vast and powerful awakening to anger. Let yourself float higher, higher, beyond the realm of mortal dwellings, beyond the comfortable circles of firelight, up, up through layers of cloud and starshine, until you reach the dwelling place of the gods themselves. Here, the air shimmers with divine power. Here, the very atmosphere hums with the energy of immortal beings. Oh, and here, a storm is brewing that will shake the foundations of heaven and earth. You find yourself in the great hall of Zeus, king of all gods, ruler of sky and thunder, master of the cosmic order that keeps all things in their proper place. The hall stretches beyond sight, its columns carved from crystallized lightning, its dome painted with the swirling patterns of eternal storms. Everything here speaks of power, of majesty, of authority that brooks no challenge or. But today, this moment, the harmony of divine order has been disturbed. You can feel it in the charged air, in the way the very stones seem to vibrate with suppressed energy, in the ominous gathering of storm clouds that spiral around the highest peak. Zeus has discovered what Prometheus has done, and his rage is building like the pressure before a hurricane. The King of Gods sits upon his throne, a massive seat carved from a single thunderbolt, forever frozen in gleaming amber crystal. His form is magnificent and terrible, tall as a tower, broad as a mountain, with hair and beard that flow like storm clouds, with eyes that flash like lightning, with hands that could reshape continents with a casual gesture. You watch, mesmerized, as Zeus processes what he has learned. His divine senses have felt the change in the world below, have tasted the smoke of 1,000 new fires, have heard the prayers of gratitude rising from human lips, and slowly, inevitably, he has realized what has happened. Someone has stolen fire from the sacred realm. Someone has given divine power to mortals without permission, without authority, without regard for the careful balance that keeps gods and humans in their separate spheres. His fingers tighten on the arms of his throne, and you hear, like distant thunder, the first rumble of his displeasure. It is a sound that makes mountains tremble, that sends waves racing across distant seas, that causes every creature with divine blood to pause and listen with growing dread. For when Zeus is truly angry, all of existence holds its breath. You feel yourself drawn closer, close enough to see the play of emotions across his immortal face. Anger, yes, deep and building like magma in the earth's core, but also something more complex, more troubling, a sense of betrayal, of order disrupted, of the careful rules that govern reality itself being casually dismissed. To Zeus, this is not merely theft. It is rebellion, chaos, the first crack in the foundation of everything he has built. Prometheus. The name falls from his lips like a curse, like a decree of doom. The sound echoes through the hall, reverberating off crystal columns, growing stronger rather than weaker, until it seems the very air is vibrating with the power of that single word. Even speaking the name aloud seems to increase his rage, to fan the flames of his divine anger into something approaching fury. You see him rise from his throne, slowly, deliberately, each movement charged with barely contained power. When he stands, he seems to fill the hall, to dwarf the mighty columns, to make the vast space feel suddenly cramped and insufficient. Lightning begins to dance around his form, not wild and chaotic, but controlled, purposeful, like a weapon being carefully prepared for use. He strides to the great window that looks out over the mortal world, and you follow, floating beside him like a wisp of cloud, like a fragment of dream. From this divine height, the human settlements look like scattered embers, tiny points of light in the vast darkness. But Zeus sees them clearly, sees each fire, knows exactly what they represent, understands perfectly the magnitude of what has been done. "Look," he says, and his voice carries the rumble of approaching storms. "Look how they burn my sacred fire, how they presume to share in power that was never meant for mortal hands." His words are measured, controlled, but underneath you can hear the growing tempest of his wrath. "Did I give them fire? Did I decree that they should have such gifts? What right, what authority gave Prometheus license to overturn my will?" You feel the questions hanging in the air like gathering storm clouds, and you understand that these are not merely rhetorical inquiries. They are the foundation stones of divine justice, the careful construction of a case for punishment that will be absolute, final, terrible in its completeness. Thunder begins to roll across the heavens, starting as a distant rumble, growing stronger, closer, more insistent. It is not the random thunder of natural storms, but something far more purposeful. The voice of Zeus himself, calling to every corner of creation, announcing that judgment is coming, that the cosmic order will be restored, that defiance will not go unpunished. Other gods begin to appear, drawn by the summons in the thunder, materializing in the great hall like figures stepping out of dreams. Hera, beautiful and stern, her eyes flashing with support for her husband's anger. Athena, wise but troubled, understanding both the crime and its deeper implications. Apollo, radiant even in his concern, his divine light dimmed by the gathering storm. Artemis, wild and free, but respectful of the laws that govern even the immortals. One by one they take their places, forming a circle around their king, their faces reflecting the gravity of the moment. This is not merely a family dispute, not simply a matter of one god overstepping bounds. This is a challenge to the fundamental order of existence, a precedent that could unravel everything they have worked for millennia to establish. "My brothers, my sisters," Zeus begins, his voice now carrying the full weight of his authority. "You see what has been done. You witness the chaos that threatens to engulf all we have built." Lightning flickers around him as he speaks, illuminating his face with stark, dramatic shadows. Prometheus has stolen fire from our sacred realm, has given divine power to mortals without consultation, without permission, without regard for the consequences. You feel the weight of his words, the careful building of his case. He is not speaking from mere anger now, but from the deep well of divine wisdom, from the understanding that rules exist for reasons. that boundaries must be maintained, that the gifts of the gods cannot be distributed casually without destroying the very fabric of reality. What are mortals? He continues, his voice growing stronger, more passionate. They are brief, flickering things, creatures of mud and breath who live for a handful of years and then return to dust. They were given minds to wonder, hands to work, hearts to love within their mortal sphere. But divine fire, the power of creation itself, this was never meant for beings who cannot understand its true nature, who cannot bear its full responsibility. Murmurs of agreement ripple through the assembled gods. You can see them nodding, understanding the wisdom in his words, recognizing the danger in what Prometheus has done, for they know, as mortals cannot, that every gift of divine power carries with it the potential for both creation and destruction. That fire can warm and comfort, but also burn and consume. That knowledge can illuminate, but also corrupt. Already, Zeus says, his voice now carrying a note of prophecy, of divine foresight. I can see the paths this gift will open. I see them learning to make weapons, to wage war on scales never before imagined, dude. I see them growing proud, thinking themselves equal to gods, forgetting their place in the natural order. I see them using our fire to burn away the very forests we created, to melt the very mountains we raised. The vision he paints is dark, terrible, filled with the long consequences of Prometheus's seemingly benevolent act. And you realize, with a chill that penetrates even this dream-like state, that he is not necessarily wrong, that the gift of fire will indeed bring not only blessing but also curse, not only creation but also destruction, not only wisdom but also the terrible burden of choice. But beyond all this, Zeus continues, and now his voice carries a personal pain, a sense of betrayal that cuts deeper than any concern for cosmic order. Beyond the danger to mortals themselves lies the greater crime. Prometheus has defied me, has acted as if my authority means nothing, has presumed to make decisions that affect the very structure of reality without seeking my counsel or consent. Here, you see, is the heart of the matter. This is not merely about fire, or mortals, or even cosmic order. This is about the respect due to the King of Gods, about the acknowledgement of authority that keeps divine society functioning, about the recognition that Zeus's power is not merely personal strength, but the foundation upon which all divine hierarchy rests. Lightning begins to flash more frequently now, illuminating the hall in stark, dramatic bursts. The thunder grows constant, a rolling background that makes every word seem more significant, more final, odd. The very air crackles with energy, with the building power of divine judgment, or you can feel the moment approaching, the point of no return, when word will be spoken that cannot be taken back. Therefore, Zeus declares, his voice now carrying the full majesty of absolute authority. Let it be known throughout all realms, mortal and divine, that Prometheus has committed crimes against the cosmic order, that he has stolen sacred fire, that he has defied the will of Zeus, and that he will face the consequences of his actions. The words echo through the hall, through the very fabric of reality, carrying with them the weight of unalterable decree. This is not threat, not warning, but prophecy, the speaking into existence of a future that has now become inevitable. You feel the universe itself adjust, align itself to accommodate this divine judgment. Let Hephaestus forge chains. Zeus continues, his words now flowing like lava, hot and inexorable. Chains that cannot be broken by any power, divine or mortal. Let them be made from the adamant that forms the core of stars, tempered in the fire of creation itself, strong enough to hold even a Titan, permanent enough to endure until the end of time itself. You see Hephaestus, the divine smith, nod grimly, understanding the magnitude of what is being asked. These will not be ordinary restraints, but bonds forged from the very essence of permanence, designed not merely to hold, but to ensure that holding will continue through all eternity. And let him be chained. Zeus's voice grows even more terrible, more final. To the highest peak of the Caucasus Mountains, where the wind howls without ceasing, where the cold bites like wolves, where the sun burns without mercy, oh, let him hang between earth and sky, belonging fully to neither, a warning to all who would dare to defy the will of the gods. The punishment takes shape as he speaks, and you can see it, terrible in its completeness. Prometheus, wise and kind Prometheus, suspended on a desolate cliff, alone with his thoughts and his pain, separated from all he loves, all he sought to help, enduring not just physical torment, but the deeper agony of perfect isolation. But even this, Zeus says, and now his voice carries a note of creativity, of divine imagination turned toward the crafting of perfect justice. Even this is not sufficient, for what is mere bondage to one who has already shown he values principle above personal safety? No. His punishment must reflect the ongoing nature of his crime. You feel a chill, a presentiment of something even more terrible being born in the mind of the god, king. This will not be simple imprisonment. not mere restraint, but something more complex, more perfectly calibrated to the specific nature of Prometheus's defiance. Each day, Zeus declares, his words falling like hammer blows on the anvil of fate. Horn eagle will come, my own sacred bird, and it will feast upon his liver, tearing the flesh, drinking the blood, consuming the very essence of his immortal life. And each night, because he is divine, because he cannot truly die, his body will heal, his liver will grow back, preparing him for the next day's torment. The punishment is perfect in its horror, eternal, unavoidable, designed to ensure that every dawn brings not hope, but renewed suffering, that every sunset brings not rest, but merely the promise of tomorrow's agony. It is a masterwork of divine justice, terrible and inexorable as the movement of stars. Let this be done, Zeus commands, his voice now carrying the full weight of absolute authority. Let it begin at once. Let all creation witness what happens to those who steal from the gods, who defy the cosmic order, who presume to share divine gifts with those too mortal to understand their true nature. Thunder crashes, lightning flashes. The hall fills with divine energy as the decree takes effect. Reality itself shifts to accommodate this new truth. In workshops of the gods, chains begin to take shape. On distant mountains, cliffs prepare to receive their eternal prisoner. In the high places where eagles soar, a special bird awakens to its terrible purpose. You feel yourself being carried along by the power of divine will, swept up in the inexorable current of cosmic justice. The hall begins to fade around you, the assembled gods dissolving into mist and memory. But the echo of Zeus's words follows you, will always follow you, the sound of absolute authority exercising itself, the voice of order restored, the promise of punishment that will endure through all eternity. As you drift deeper into dream, deeper into peaceful slumber, you carry with you the image of divine wrath, beautiful and terrible in its completeness, justified by law, but terrible in its scope. Zeus has spoken, the universe has heard, and now, inevitably, inexorably, the consequences must unfold. The storm clouds gather, the thunder rolls, and somewhere, in a place beyond mortal sight, chains are being forged that will bind not just a titan's body, but become links in the great chain of fate itself. Sleep comes like gentle rain after the storm, washing away the harsh edges of divine anger, leaving only the soft certainty that justice, however terrible, will always find its way. The thunder fades to whispers, the lightning dims to the gentle glow of distant stars, and you rest, cradled by the eternal rhythms of cosmic order, held safe in the knowledge that even in punishment, even in wrath, there is a kind of divine love, the love that seeks to maintain the balance or to preserve the harmony, to ensure that all things, even suffering, serve the greater good. Chapter 3: Chains in the Mountains. You drift, slowly, gently, like a feather on warm currents of air, deeper into the ancient story, where time itself seems to slow and thicken, carrying you far from the marble halls of Olympus, far from the comfortable fires of human dwellings, to a place of stark beauty and terrible solitude, here, at the edge of the world, where earth reaches up to touch the belly of the sky. You find yourself in the Caucasus Mountains. The peaks rise around you like sleeping giants, their heads crowned with eternal snow, their shoulders draped in mist and cloud. The wind here speaks in tongues unknown to mortal ears, carrying stories of ice and star and stone. The air is thin and sharp, each breath a reminder that this is a place where only the divine and the determined can long endure. Let yourself settle, like snowflakes finding their resting place, onto the highest cliff, the most desolate peak, where the rock faces are smoothed by endless wind, where no tree grows, where no bird makes its nest. This is the place Zeus has chosen, the perfect stage for eternal punishment, isolated from all comfort and exposed to every cruelty of weather and time. You see them coming, the divine procession, carrying out their terrible task. Hephaestus leads, the god of forge and fire, moving with reluctant steps across the unforgiving terrain. In his massive hands, he carries chains unlike any ever made, forged from adamant and starfire, gleaming with their own inner light. Beautiful and terrible as all divine creations, unbreakable as the will of Zeus himself. Behind him come others, divine servants, tasked with this grim duty. They move in silence, for what words could make this moment lighter? What comfort could they offer to one who will soon face eternal torment? Their faces are set, determined, knowing that divine justice, however harsh it may seem, must be carried out exactly as commanded. And there, walking with dignity even in defeat, comes Prometheus himself. He is not bound, not yet, for his captors know he will not flee, will not resist. His wisdom tells him that this moment was inevitable from the instant he chose to steal the sacred fire. His love for humanity tells him that no punishment, no matter how severe, could make him regret that choice. You watch his face, noble and serene, even in these terrible circumstances. His eyes hold no fear, no resentment, no self-pity, Instead, there is a kind of peaceful acceptance, the calm that comes only to those who have acted from perfect love, who have given everything for something greater than themselves. He looks almost not happy, but content, as if this punishment is simply another form of service. The procession reaches the chosen cliff, a vertical wall of stone that drops away into misty depths, that rises to touch the very ceiling of the world. Here, suspended between earth and heaven, Prometheus will spend his eternal punishment, visible to neither gods nor mortals, alone with the wind and the sky and his own uncompromising thoughts. Hephaestus sets down his chains, and you hear the sound they make against the stone, a ringing note that seems to echo forever among the peaks, a sound like the tolling of some vast bell, announcing to all creation that divine justice is about to be served. The god of the forge looks up at Prometheus, and for a moment, just a moment, you see sorrow flicker in his ancient eyes. My friend, Hephaestus says, his voice rough with emotion, I am sorry. I am sorry it has come to this, but Zeus has commanded duel, and even I, even among the gods, dare not disobey when he speaks with such finality. His hands shake slightly as he lifts the chains. These bonds he has crafted with such perfect skill, such terrible permanence. Prometheus nods, understanding, bearing no grudge against one who is merely the instrument of Zeus's will. I know, old friend, I know you would choose differently if the choice were yours, but we are all, even gods, servants of a greater order. You do your duty, as I did mine, and there is honor in that, peace in that, even here, even now. You watch as Hephaestus begins his work, lifting Prometheus's powerful arms, positioning them against the cold stone. The chains flow like liquid metal, wrapping around wrists and forearms, conforming perfectly to their divine captiva, sealing themselves with locks that have no keys, bonds that will endure until the stars themselves grow cold and dark. Each link that closes sends a ripple through reality, a small adjustment in the fabric of existence. For these are not merely physical restraints, they are cosmic ones, binding not just Prometheus's body, but his very essence to this place, this punishment, this eternal vigil. He will not be able to fade, to dissolve, to escape into dreams or madness. He will remain perfectly, terribly, completely present for every moment of his torment. The work continues in silence, broken only by the whisper of wind through stone, the distant cry of eagles far below, the soft sound of divine breath in the thin mountain air. Prometheus's legs are bound next, secured to the cliff face with chains that become part of the rock itself, merged with the very mountain, making escape not just impossible, but literally unthinkable. As the final bonds are secured, you see Prometheus test them once, gently, not seeking escape, but simply understanding the completeness of his captivity. Oh, the chains hold, firm as the foundations of the earth, unyielding as the will of Zeus. He nods, almost approvingly, recognizing the craftsmanship, the perfect execution of divine justice, terrible though it may be. Hephaestus steps back, his work complete, his duty fulfilled, but his face shows no satisfaction, no pride in his perfect craftsmanship, only the deep sadness of one who has been forced to hurt a friend, to participate in a punishment that, however justified, brings no joy to those who must carry it out. It is done, he says, and the words seem to fall like stones into deep water, creating ripples that spread outward, carrying news of this moment to every corner of creation. The bonds are forged, the punishment begins. May the gods, may Zeus himself, show mercy in time, though time itself may have no meaning here. The divine servants begin to withdraw, their task completed, their presence no longer needed. One by one they fade, dissolving into mist and memory, until only Prometheus remains, chained to his cliff, alone with the vastness of sky and stone, beginning the first moments of an eternity of solitude. You remain, invisible witness to this transformation, watching as the Titan adjusts to his new reality. He tests his bonds once more, not struggling, but understanding, learning the exact extent of his captivity, discovering how far he can move, what small freedoms remain to him in this place of ultimate restriction. The chains allow him to shift slightly, to turn his head, to breathe, to think up, but little more. He cannot touch his own face, cannot embrace himself for comfort, cannot even close his eyes fully, for the bonds hold his head in such a position that he must look out, always out, at the vast expanse of world and sky, forever witnessing, forever aware, forever isolated from everything he loves. Hours pass, or perhaps days. Time moves strangely here, differently, as if this place exists slightly apart from the normal flow of moments. The sun crosses the sky, harsh and bright, burning Prometheus's divine skin without offering warmth. The wind rises and falls, carrying scents of distant forests, distant seas, distant places where life continues, where his gift of fire still burns, where humans still gather around their hearths and remember, in their wordless way, the kindness of an unknown benefactor. Night comes, bringing cold that bites like wolves, but also bringing stars, countless points of light scattered across the velvet darkness, each one a reminder of the vastness of creation, of the cosmic order that Prometheus challenged, of the beauty that exists even here, even in this place of punishment. The stars wheel overhead, marking time, marking the passage of hours, of days, of years, of centuries that will pass before this punishment ends. If it ever ends, you watch Prometheus watching the stars, and you see something remarkable, something that perhaps Zeus himself did not anticipate. The Titan's face shows not despair, not resentment, but a kind of wonder, a deep appreciation for the beauty of the night sky, for the privilege of witnessing the eternal dance of celestial bodies. He is finding, even here, even in this place of ultimate punishment, reasons for gratitude, moments of peace, fragments of joy that no chain can bind. Dawn comes slowly to the mountain peaks, painting the eastern sky with delicate shades of rose and gold. The light creeps across the stone face, warming the rock, illuminating Prometheus in his bonds, revealing the full scope of his situation, but also revealing something else, the unbroken nobility of his spirit, the quiet strength that no punishment can diminish. The sun climbs higher, and with it comes the heat that will torment him through the day, divine flesh that cannot burn, cannot die, but can feel every degree of temperature, every shift in the wind, every change in pressure as weather systems move across the vast sky. This, too, is part of the punishment. Perfect sensitivity combined with perfect helplessness, awareness without the ability to seek comfort. But still, amazingly, Prometheus finds wonder in the sunrise, in the way light transforms the mountain landscape, in the delicate play of shadow and illumination across distant peaks. His eyes, free to move within their limited range, track the flight of clouds, the spiral of air currents, the minute changes that speak of weather patterns, of seasons, of the vast, complex, beautiful systems that govern the natural world. You realize that Zeus, in his wisdom and his anger, has created something he did not intend, a perfect observer, a divine consciousness with nothing to do but watch, to think, to understand. Prometheus, chained to this cliff, becomes witness to everything, student of wind and weather, philosopher of solitude, sage of stone and sky. Days blend into weeks, weeks into months. Seasons wheel overhead like living things. Spring brings the scent of distant flowers on warm breezes. The sound of meltwater rushing down hidden streams. The return of birds to lower elevations. Summer blazes with heat that would kill mortals, but only discomforts the bound Titan, who watches thunderstorms build and break, who feels the electric tension before lightning strikes, who witnesses the awesome power of nature unleashed. Autumn paints the world in shades of gold and crimson, visible on distant slopes where trees still grow, where life still cycles through its ancient patterns. The air grows crisper, clear, allowing Prometheus to see farther than ever, to watch the migration of birds, the movement of clouds, the slow dance of weather systems across continents. Winter brings snow, deep and white and silent, covering the peaks in pristine beauty, muffling sound, creating a world of perfect peace and perfect isolation. The cold penetrates even divine flesh, but it also brings clarity, sharpness of thought, the kind of mental precision that comes only when all distractions are stripped away. Through it all, Prometheus endures, not merely survives, but endures with dignity, with grace, with a kind of transcendent acceptance that transforms suffering into something. Approaching wisdom, he begins to understand things that perhaps no God has ever understood: the true nature of time, of patience, of the way consciousness can expand to fill any space, any duration, any condition. Years pass, decades, centuries. The cliff face shows no change, but the world below continues to evolve. Prometheus watches, with eyes that never close, as forests grow and die and grow again, as rivers change their courses, as mountains rise and wear away, as the slow, patient processes of geological time reshape the very landscape of creation. And always, always, he thinks of humanity, of the small fires burning in distant settlements, of the children growing up with warmth and light they take for granted, of the discoveries being made, the tools being crafted, the stories being told around hearths he made possible. His punishment becomes, in a strange way, a meditation on love, on sacrifice, on the price that must sometimes be paid for serving something greater than oneself. The wind carries news, fragments of scent and sound that speak of the human world, smoke from cooking fires, the ring of metal on metal as tools are forged, the distant sound of laughter, of celebration, of life lived fully because warmth and light make joy possible. Each hint of human happiness eases his suffering, validates his choice, makes the chains feel somehow lighter. But there is more coming. Something he senses in the changing patterns of the wind, in the subtle shifts of air pressure, in the way certain birds avoid the peak now, as if they sense approaching danger. The eagle is coming, Zeus's sacred bird, the instrument of the daily torture that will make simple bondage seem like mercy. You feel it too, approaching from the north, riding currents of air that speak of divine purpose, of wings blessed with terrible strength, of claws and beak designed for the specific task of divine punishment. It is magnificent. This creature, beautiful in the way that all perfectly designed instruments are beautiful, but terrible in its singular purpose. Prometheus senses its approach, turns his head as far as the chains allow, and watches the sky, waiting, not in fear, but with the same calm attention he has brought to everything else. In this place, accepting this new trial as he has accepted all the others, knowing that resistance is pointless, that dignity lies not in avoiding pain, but in how one bears it. The eagle appears, first as a distant speck against the blue, then growing larger, larger, until its full magnificence becomes clear. Wings that span the width of clouds, feathers that gleam like bronze and gold, eyes that burn with divine fire. It is Zeus's own sacred bird, blessed with intelligence, with purpose, with the terrible gift of immortality that ensures it will never tire of its task. Never show mercy, never forget its divine mission. It circles once, twice, studying its victim, learning the exact parameters of its assignment. The chains hold Prometheus in perfect position, unable to defend himself, unable to turn away, unable to do anything but endure what is coming. The eagle's cry echoes among the peaks, a sound like tearing metal, like breaking stone, like the voice of divine justice itself. Then it descends, swift as falling lightning, graceful as death itself. Its claws grip the stone on either side of Prometheus. Its great head bends to its work, and the daily torment begins. The eagle feeds, methodically, perfectly, with the precision of a divine instrument, carrying out its sacred task. There is no malice in it, no cruelty, only perfect obedience to the will of Zeus. Pain beyond mortal comprehension floods through Prometheus, but he does not cry out, does not beg, does not curse his fate. Instead, he endures as mountains endure storms, as stars endure the vast emptiness of space, as love endures all things, even this, even the daily tearing of flesh, the spilling of divine blood, the consumption of living tissue. The eagle feeds until it is satisfied, then departs, leaving Prometheus wounded, bleeding, alone with his agony. But already, even as the great bird disappears into the southern sky, the healing begins, divine flesh knitting together, blood vessels regenerating, the liver growing back, preparing for tomorrow's torment, ensuring that the punishment will be exactly the same day after day, year after year, century after century. Night falls, bringing blessed darkness, blessed solitude, blessed time to heal and think and prepare for another day. The stars emerge, constant friends in this place of loneliness, and Prometheus looks up at them, seeing in their eternal dance a reflection of his own eternal vigil, both bound by laws greater than themselves, both serving purposes larger than individual desire, both beautiful in their perfect acceptance of cosmic order. You settle deeper into the dream, deeper into peaceful sleep, cradled by the rhythm of eternal punishment, soothed by the sight of dignity maintained in impossible circumstances, held safe by the knowledge that love, true love, the kind that gives divine fire to mortal hands, can endure anything, anything at all. The wind whispers lullabies among the peaks, the stars sing silent songs of endurance though, and you rest, knowing that even in the darkest places, even in the most terrible punishments, there is still beauty, still hope, still the unbreakable strength of a spirit that chose love over safety, service over comfort, sacrifice over ease. The mountain sleeps, the world sleeps, but Prometheus watches, always watches, carrying his vigil like a sacred trust, bearing his chains like badges of honor, enduring his punishment like a meditation on the true cost of love. And in that endurance, in that perfect acceptance, there is a kind of victory that no power, not even Zeus himself, can ever take away. Chapter 4. Enduring the pain, you drift ever deeper into the heart of the ancient dream, where time has lost all meaning, where moments stretch like honey in winter sunlight, carrying you to a place beyond ordinary suffering, beyond simple endurance, to the very center of what it means to love without condition, to sacrifice without regret, to bear unbearable pain for the sake of something infinitely precious. Here, on the desolate cliff, where wind and stone and sky meet in eternal conversation, you find Prometheus in his 100th year of torment. His chains have grown smooth with age, polished by wind and weather until they gleam like mirrors, reflecting not just light, but something deeper, the unbroken dignity of the spirit they bind. The rock face around him has been stained by centuries of divine blood, marked by the daily visits of Zeus's eagle, carved by time into a testament of endurance. Let yourself settle, gentle as falling snow, into this moment of perfect stillness. The eagle has come and gone, as it does each day at precisely the same hour. The wounds are healing, as they always heal, and Prometheus hangs in his bonds, not broken, not diminished but somehow impossibly, grown greater through his suffering. You see it in his eyes, the change that centuries of solitude have wrought. They hold depths now that were not there before, an understanding that comes only to those who have explored every corner of their own souls, who have faced the absolute limits of endurance and found, beyond those limits, new territories of spirit, new landscapes of wisdom, new countries of the heart that can only be reached through perfect acceptance of perfect pain. The sun climbs toward its zenith, bringing with it the familiar heat that turns the cliff face into a furnace. But Prometheus no longer struggles against it, no longer wastes energy in futile resistance. Instead, he has learned to flow with the rhythm of temperature, to become one with the cycles of heat and cold, to find in the very extremity of his discomfort a kind of meditation, a pathway to transcendence. His thoughts, no longer scattered by the shock of punishment, no longer fragmented by the daily trauma of the eagle's visit, have settled into patterns as regular and beautiful as the movement of stars. He thinks of fire, always fire, not the simple flames he gave to humanity, but the deeper fire, the fire of consciousness itself, the spark of awareness that burns in every thinking being, the light that no darkness can extinguish. You hear his voice, soft as wind through stone, speaking to the empty air, to the listening sky, to whatever divine presence might still care to hear the words of a chained Titan. I have been thinking, he says, and his voice carries no trace of self-pity, no hint of regret, only the calm certainty of one who has found truth in the deepest places, about the nature of gifts, about what it truly means to give. The words drift across the peaks, carried by wind that has heard everything, that keeps all secrets, that brings news from the world below, news of humanity, still growing, still learning, still tending the fires he gave them so long ago. The settlements have grown larger, the tools more complex, the understanding deeper. His gift continues to unfold, continues to bless, continues to justify every moment of his torment. When I gave them fire. Prometheus continues, his words measured, thoughtful, polished by centuries of contemplation. I thought I understood what I was doing. I saw their suffering, their cold, their darkness, and I acted from love, from compassion, from the simple desire to ease their pain. But now I begin to see that the gift was never truly mine to give. A cloud passes overhead, bringing momentary shade, momentary relief from the burning sun. Prometheus tilts his head back, drinks in the coolness like wine, like blessing. like a reminder that even in this place of ultimate punishment, small mercies still exist. Small graces still flow from the inexhaustible fountain of divine love. The fire was always theirs, he whispers, and you hear in his voice the wonder of new understanding. The joy that comes only from discovering truth. It burned in their hearts from the moment of their creation. It glowed in their minds like hidden stars. It warmed their souls with the same heat that lights the sun. I did not give them fire. I simply awakened them to the fire they already carried. This revelation, born from centuries of solitude, born from pain so deep it has become wisdom, transforms everything. The theft becomes recognition. The rebellion becomes service. The punishment becomes not justice, but a kind of cosmic education, a way of teaching not just Prometheus, but all creation about the true nature of divine gifts. Years flow past like water, like wind, like the patient movement of glaciers, carving valleys from solid stone. The world below continues to change, to grow, to evolve in ways that would amaze even the gods. Prometheus watches, when the angle of his bondage allows, when clouds part to reveal distant glimpses of human activity. And what he sees fills him with quiet joy. Cities now, where once there were only scattered settlements, temples rising toward the sky, not built to honor the gods who abandoned humanity to darkness, but to celebrate the mysterious benefactor who brought them light. They do not know his name, cannot see his suffering, but they remember, in their bones, in their blood, in the warm flames that still dance in every hearth, that someone, somewhere, loved them enough to risk everything. The eagle comes each day, regular as sunrise, predictable as tide, and Prometheus no longer dreads its approach, no longer tenses against the coming pain. Instead, he has learned to welcome it, not masochistically, not from any desire for suffering, but because the daily torment has become his offering, his sacrifice, his way of paying the price for the gift he helped humanity discover. As claws pierce divine flesh, as the great beak tears and consumes, Prometheus thinks of warm kitchens where children laugh around cooking fires, of forges where metal is shaped into tools and beauty, of torches that light dark paths, of beacons that guide lost travelers home. Each moment of his agony becomes a prayer, a blessing sent across the distance to those who benefit from his sacrifice. The eagle finishes its meal, departs on wings that catch the afternoon light, and healing begins again, as it always begins, as it always will. But the healing itself has become something sacred, a daily resurrection, a reminder that love, true love, can survive anything, can regenerate from any wound, can rise again from any death. Seasons wheel overhead, marking the passage of time, but also marking the deepening of understanding. Spring brings the scent of distant flowers, and Prometheus smells in them the sweetness of new beginnings, the promise that his gift will continue to unfold in ways he never imagined. Summer blazes with heat that speaks of the forge, fires where humans shape metal, where they create beauty and utility from raw earth. Autumn carries smoke, the good smoke of harvest fires, of celebration, of families gathering to share the bounty that cultivation, made possible by fire, has provided. Winter brings the sharp cold that makes hearth, fires precious, that turns simple warmth into the center of human community, the heart around which civilization gathers through it all. Prometheus endures, not merely bears, not simply survives, but endures with purpose, with meaning, with the deep satisfaction that comes only to those who have given everything for love. His chains no longer feel like bonds, but like, strange as it seems, like embraces, the arms of fate holding him in the exact place where he can serve most perfectly. Centuries pass, millennia. The world below grows beyond recognition. Humans spread across continents, build wonders that rival the creations of gods, develop sciences and arts and philosophies that illuminate the darkness of ignorance. And always, always, at the heart of every advancement, burns the fire he helped them find. The spark of consciousness, the flame of curiosity, the light of love itself. You watch as Prometheus reaches a kind of transcendence, a state of being that perhaps no god has ever achieved. Perfect acceptance combined with perfect love, absolute powerlessness wedded to absolute purpose. He has become something new, something the cosmos has never seen before, a being who has chosen ultimate sacrifice and found in it ultimate fulfillment. His voice, when he speaks now, carries harmonics that resonate with the very foundations of creation. I understand now, he says, and the words seem to emerge not just from his throat, but from every atom of his being, from every link of his chains, from every drop of blood he has shed. This was always the plan, not Zeus's plan, not my plan, but the plan of love itself. Love requires sacrifice. He continues, his words flowing like music, like poetry, like the deepest truth spoken at last. Not because love is cruel, but because love is complete. It gives everything, holds nothing back, accepts any price, bears any burden, endures any pain. For the sake of the beloved, the insight transforms even his daily torment. When the eagle comes now, Prometheus sees not an instrument of punishment, but a messenger, a daily reminder of the price love pays, a sacred ritual that connects his suffering to the joy of every human who has ever been warmed by fire, who has ever seen by firelight, who has ever gathered with others around the blessed flames of community. Night falls, bringing stars, eternal witnesses to his vigil, and Prometheus looks up at them with eyes that have learned to see beauty in everything, even in pain, even in bondage, even in the endless repetition of punishment. For he knows now, with certainty born from perfect experience, that nothing, nothing at all, can diminish love, can break love, can overcome love. His gift to humanity continues to unfold, continues to bless, continues to kindle new fires in new hearts, and his punishment, no longer punishment but pilgrimage, no longer burden but blessing, continues to demonstrate the price love pays, the cost love gladly bears, the sacrifice love joyfully makes for the sake of the beloved. You drift deeper into peaceful sleep, cradled by the rhythm of eternal love, soothed by the sight of perfect sacrifice, held safe by the knowledge that somewhere, in the highest places, love keeps its vigil, bears its burden, pays its price, gladly, willingly, eternally. The wind sings lullabies of endurance, the stars dance measures of acceptance, and you rest, knowing that love, real love, divine love, will always find a way, will always endure, will always, in the end, triumph over everything, even death, even punishment, even the wrath of gods. The mountain sleeps, but love wakes, love watches, love waits, and in that waiting, in that watching, there is already, even before deliverance comes, the seeds of victory, the promise of redemption, the certainty that no chain can bind the spirit. No eagle can consume the heart, no punishment can diminish the soul that has chosen freely and completely to love without limit, to give without reservation, to sacrifice without regret. Chapter 5, a glimmer of hope. You drift softly, now, like morning, mist rising from ancient valleys, deeper into the final chapter of this eternal dream, where time itself begins to bend toward mercy, where even the longest night must yield to dawn. Here, in this place where hope had seemed impossible, something stirs, something shifts in the very fabric of fate itself. The mountain peak looks the same, wind, carved stone, chains of adamant, the eternal prisoner suspended between earth and sky. But you sense it, subtle as the first breath of spring, quiet as the turning of distant stars. Change is coming, the wheel of fate, so long frozen in place, begins to turn all slowly, inevitably, toward something new. Let yourself settle, gentle as falling starlight, into this moment of transformation. Prometheus hangs in his chains, no longer counting days or years or centuries, for time has become his friend, his teacher, his pathway to understanding so profound that even gods might envy it. His eyes, those eyes that have seen everything, witnessed all, endured beyond measure, now hold something that was not there before, not hope, exactly, but readiness, acceptance so complete that it has become its own form of power. The morning comes as all mornings come here, with light creeping across stone, with wind carrying scents of distant places, with the familiar rhythm of temperature rising, of shadows shifting, of the eternal dance of earth and sky continuing its ancient patterns. But today, this morning, something is different. Something moves in the landscape far below. Something that speaks of destiny approaching, of stories preparing to complete themselves. You see him first as a distant figure climbing the impossible paths that lead to this desolate height, a mortal, but not ordinary, moving with strength that speaks of divine blessing, of heroic purpose, of muscles that have lifted weights no normal man could bear. His progress is steady, patient, marked by the kind of determination that knows no obstacle can ultimately stand against it. Prometheus sees him, too, this distant climber, and something in the Titan's expression shifts. Not surprise, for one who has endured so long has learned to expect the unexpected, but recognition, the deep knowing that comes when fate reveals its hand, when the threads of story begin to weave themselves into their final pattern. Heracle's wall. The name whispers from Prometheus's lips like a prayer, like prophecy, like the first word of a new chapter. He knows this hero, has watched his labors from afar, has seen him grow from strength to strength, from trial to trial, becoming the kind of mortal who stands at the threshold between human and divine, the kind of being who might, just might, be capable of what others would deem impossible. The hero climbs steadily, hour after hour, following paths that exist more in determination than in stone. His great bow is slung across his shoulders, the bow that has slain monsters, that has served justice, that has defended the innocent and punished the wicked. Today, it will serve a different purpose. Today, it will become an instrument of mercy. You watch his ascent, each step a testament to human will, to the refusal to accept that some things cannot be changed, cannot be challenged, cannot be overcome. This is what Prometheus saw in humanity. This spark, this refusal to bow before impossibility, this determination to reach higher, to climb farther, to attempt what others say cannot be done. As Heracles draws closer, you see his face more clearly, weathered by countless adventures, marked by victories and defeats, scarred by battles with creatures that would break lesser men. But his eyes burn with purpose, with the kind of righteous anger that moves heroes to impossible deeds. He has heard the story, the whispered tale of the Titan who loved humanity enough to steal fire from the gods, who suffers eternal punishment for that act of love. And Heracles, hero of heroes, defender of justice, has decided that some punishments, even divine ones, have lasted long enough. The final approach is the most difficult. Vertical stone, wind that would knock normal men from the cliff face, cold that bites like wolves. But Heracles is not normal. His strength is legendary, his determination absolute, his purpose clear as mountain air. He climbs with the steady rhythm of inevitability, like sunrise, like spring, like all the forces of nature that cannot be stopped, only delayed. Prometheus watches the heroes approach with eyes that have seen everything, that understand the cosmic implications of this moment. This is not merely rescue. This is revolution, the intervention of mortal will in divine justice. The assertion that love, human love, heroic love, has its own authority, its own power to change even the unchangeable. Heracles reaches the final ledge, pulls himself up onto the platform of stone where the Titan hangs in his eternal bondage. For a moment, just a moment, hero and prisoner regard each other in silence, each recognizing in the other something extraordinary, something that transcends the ordinary boundaries of mortal and divine, God and man, prisoner and rescuer. Great Prometheus, Heracles says, and his voice carries the weight of respect, of gratitude, of recognition for sacrifices made and prices paid. I have come to end this, to break these chains, to restore to freedom one who gave everything for love of humanity. The Titan smiles, the first smile to cross his features in 1,000 years. Heracles, son of Zeus, hero of heroes, do you understand what you propose? These chains were forged by divine will, blessed by cosmic authority, sealed with the power of Zeus himself. To break them is to challenge, not just punishment, but the very order of creation. Then let it be challenged. Heracles replies, his voice growing stronger, more determined. For I have seen what your gift has given to humanity. I have walked in cities lit by your fire. I have eaten food cooked by your flames. I have seen children playing safely in the warmth you provided. If this is rebellion, then let me be a rebel. If this is defiance, then let me defy. For love deserves an answer. Sacrifice deserves recognition. And suffering like yours deserves an end. You feel the power building, the moment approaching when decision becomes action, when intention becomes deed. The very air seems to vibrate with possibility, with the tension that precedes all great changes, all shifts in the cosmic order. Even the wind holds its breath, waiting to see what will happen when mortal determination meets divine decree. From the south comes the familiar sound, the beat of great wings, the cry that has echoed across these peaks for millennia. The eagle approaches, Zeus's sacred bird, coming for its daily feeding, unaware that today will be different from all the countless days before. Today, for the first time since the punishment began, it will find interference, find challenge, find a mortal who dares to stand between divine justice and its object. Heracles unslings his bow, draws an arrow from his quiver. Not just any arrow, but one blessed by divine favor, tempered in sacred fires, blessed with the power to strike targets that ordinary weapons cannot touch. He knocks it to the string, draws back, aims at the approaching eagle with the calm precision of one who has never missed a shot that mattered. "Wait," Prometheus says softly. "Do you realize what you do? That eagle is sacred to Zeus. To slay it is to invite the wrath of the king of gods. To risk punishments that might make even my suffering seem light." Heracles smiles, a grim smile that speaks of courage tested and proven, of principles held firm against all opposition. Then I will face that wrath, bear that punishment, risk that suffering. For some things, great Prometheus, are worth any price. And freedom, true freedom, the freedom of one who suffered for love, is worth everything. The eagle appears over the cliff, magnificent and terrible, riding the wind like a living thunderbolt. Its eyes fix on Prometheus as they have every day for centuries. Its cry splits the air like the voice of divine authority itself. It swoops toward its familiar prey, unaware that everything has changed, that destiny itself stands poised to intervene. The bowstring sings. The arrow flies. Straight and true, and unstoppable as justice itself, it strikes the great bird in mid-flight, pierces the heart that has beaten with divine purpose for so long. The eagle, Zeus's sacred messenger, instrument of eternal punishment, falls, tumbles through the air like a broken dream, and crashes onto the stone platform, dead, its task ended, its vigil complete. Silence falls, profound and complete, as if all creation pauses to absorb what has just happened. War, the daily torment, the eternal punishment, the rhythm that has marked time itself for 1,000 years, has been broken, ended, destroyed by a single act of heroic defiance. Heracles moves to the chains, examines them with the practiced eye of one who has broken many bonds. These are different, divine, sealed with power beyond mortal understanding. But he is not merely mortal. He carries in his veins the blood of Zeus himself, and he has been blessed with strength that can, when love demands it, challenge even the will of gods. He grasps the first chain, the one that binds Prometheus's right arm. His muscles strain, bulge, channel power that comes not just from flesh, but from spirit, from righteousness, from the absolute certainty that this is what must be done. The adamant, forged in starfire, tempered in divine will, begins to crack, to stretch, to surrender to a power greater than the authority that made it. The chain breaks, link by link, each failure echoing across the peaks like thunder, like the sound of cosmic order reshaping itself. Prometheus's right arm falls free, flexes, moves for the first time in centuries. The sensation is extraordinary, overwhelming, like being reborn, like discovering flight, like remembering what it means to be truly alive. The second chain follows, then the third, then all of them, each breaking, releasing more than just physical bondage, each failure freeing not just flesh, but spirit, not just body, but soul, not just Prometheus, but something in the universe itself, some principle of justice, some law of love that insists that no punishment, however justified, should be eternal when it serves no purpose but revenge. Prometheus stands, shakily at first, then with growing strength. His legs, unused for so long, remember their function. His back, bent by centuries of bondage, straightens with divine dignity. His arms, freed from their restraints, spread wide to embrace the sky, the wind, the sweet air of liberation. Tears flow down his cheeks, not tears of pain, but tears of gratitude, of completion, of recognition that love, real love, always finds a way, always calls forth an answer, always kindles in other hearts the fire it has kindled in its own. Heracles. He whispers, his voice thick with emotion. Son of Zeus, hero among heroes, how can such gratitude ever be expressed? How can such debt ever be repaid? It cannot, Heracles replies, and need not be. For what you gave to humanity, what you suffered for love, creates no debt but only honor, no obligation but only reverence. You owe nothing. Great Prometheus. You have given everything, and now, finally, you are free. You watch as the two figures stand together on the high peak, hero and titan, mortal and divine, united by love, by justice, by the recognition that some bonds are meant to be broken, some punishments meant to end, some stories meant to find their completion in mercy rather than endless retribution. The sun climbs toward its zenith. But for the first time in 1,000 years, Prometheus is not chained to receive its burning heat. He can move, can seek shade, can turn his face away, can choose his position, can exercise the simple, precious, overwhelming gift of freedom. Far below, the world continues its ancient rhythms. Humans tend their fires, cook their food, light their lamps, work their forges, live their lives in the warmth and light that love made possible. They do not know, cannot know, that their benefactor has been freed, that his suffering has ended, that justice and mercy have finally found their balance. But somehow, in ways deeper than knowledge, their fires burn a little brighter, their hearts feel a little warmer, their hopes reach a little higher. For love, true love, is always felt, always recognized, always answered, across any distance, beyond any barrier, despite any obstacle. The fire that Prometheus helped humanity discover burns not just in their hearths, but in their hearts, and those hearts, all unknowing, all innocent, celebrate his freedom with every beat, every breath, every moment of warmth and light and joy. You drift deeper now, deeper into peaceful sleep, cradled by the rhythm of justice restored, soothed by the sight of love rewarded, held safe by the knowledge that no night, however long, is permanent, that no chain, however strong, can ultimately hold what should be free, that no punishment, however justified in its beginning, need be eternal if mercy can find a way. The wind carries you gently down from the heights, away from the freed Titan and his heroic rescuer, toward dreams of your own, dreams warmed by firelight, illuminated by the understanding that love, real love, sacrificial love, always, always, in the end, finds its reward, wins its victory, achieves its purpose. Sleep comes like gentle rain after drought, like sunrise after the longest night, like spring after the harshest winter. You rest, knowing that somewhere, in the bright places of the world, fires still burn, will always burn, tended by hands that know not, whose love made them possible, warmed by hearts that beat with gratitude they cannot name, blessed by the gift that no god regretted giving, no titan regretted providing, no hero regretted defending. The mountain sleeps, The world sleeps, and you sleep, all held safe by the warmth of love freely given, freely received, freely protected. The fire burns on, will always burn on, in hearth and heart, in memory and hope, in the eternal knowledge that some gifts, once given, can never be taken away. Some love, once shared, endures forever. Some stories, once begun in sacrifice, always, always end in joy.